Quick! Quick!
I'm still not sick at all of gallivanting around Kingdom Come Deliverance 2's idyllic bohemian countryside, even after the more than 120 hours I logged in February. So I was delighted to be given a reason to return to it with the first story DLC, Brushes with Death. I was greeted with more of the strong dialogue writing and open-ended adventuring I've come to expect, so I'm not overly disappointed. But I wasn't wowed either. The substance of this low-stakes tale managed to keep me entertained, but it doesn't stand especially strong on its own, played outside the grand framework of the main campaign.
I am just one step away from finishing this grand daub. But now I'm not even sure why I'm doing it.
You can start the DLC quest as early as the end of Act 1, when Henry's fate becomes intertwined with that of the eccentric and enigmatic painter Voyta. But I chose instead to load up an endgame save, picking up right in the wake of KCD2's climactic capstone events, and I think this may be a less than ideal way to experience Brushes with Death. But it is the way I suspect those of us most eager for more medieval Czech adventuring will see it for the first time, because who wants to go rooting around in their old saves looking for just the right spot?
I'm, watching your back, friend. You can count on that.
For one thing, especially if you've already resolved the main campaign's conflict, there isn't much on the line here to make it feel like it matters. All of the base game's best side quests, including the ones I do think could stand on their own better than this one, benefited from being carried on the current of those sweeping, historical, life-changing events happening all around them.
But for you, I'm simply Voyta. Nothing else is worth mentioning or appropriate to say.
It's not that Voyta's plight lacks intrigue or payoffs, it's more that it comes across as a filler episode when the last thing I remember doing was confronting an army and having a cathartic emotional reckoning with the Henry I had created. And the post-main quest world doesn't always feel like it's reacted as much as I'd like to the events that have taken place. I don't want to spoil why I shouldn't be able to just walk around in this area whenever I feel like it anymore, but if you know, you know. The pacing also is just a little bit odd when playing through it in a straight shot with no other distractions, like going out of my way to uncover more of the map or discovering a whole new settlement. It took me around 12 hours, and you could probably knock it out a good deal quicker if you don't believe, like I do, that indulging in the temptation of fast travel is one of the 7 deadly sins of open world RPGs. Running through these objectives feels a little plodding at times, and there are a few too many quest steps that simply require you to ride somewhere and get an item or talk to a guy. That might not have been as much of an issue if I hadn't already finished everything else, so there's no more possibility of getting caught up in a completely unrelated, unexpected adventure along the way. Those moments were a big part of Kingdom Come's charm.
What the hell is all this racket?
But let's pretend that wasn't a concern. If I were comparing this story to what I would consider the best side quests in the base game, it would be near the top in terms of scope and probably above average in terms of writing. The actor voicing Voyta lends a lot of character and energy to the proceedings too.
I know, and thank you, my friend. You've always been there for me, watching what I do and judging me.
On the other hand, in terms of the creativity in the quest design and the variety of activities Henry gets to engage in, it's really just adequate. And going at it with an endgame character decked out in expensive gear, all of the fights except for the last one felt pretty trivial. Even the one satisfyingly tough boss didn't feel like he got an appropriate lead up or climactic backdrop fitting for his position in the story. It's just another skirmish in some random spot in the forest.
Dwarves!
There isn't anything here as memorable or clever as the Mouth of Hell or Fifth Commandment quest chains from vanilla KCD2. There are no heart-pounding moments of action or drama to compete with those of the main quest. It does present Henry with some nuanced decisions that can have a notable impact on how things wrap up though, and a secret achievement I got for getting Voyta to tell me more than he originally wanted to, I won't tell you how, hinted to me that he might not be so forthcoming if I had done things differently. That's cool because I felt rewarded for talking him into lowering his defenses. But even then, the friendship that developed between him and Henry seemed rushed and unearned when all these quests are played back to back, with no chance to reflect on their character development.
Honestly, I don't understand why you're still here.
The other neat thing this DLC adds, other than a new storyline, and something you'll have to remember it by if you're moving on to other things in the world, is the ability to get Voyta to paint your shields. This is a welcome little bit of customization and medieval flair that adds to the feeling I'm creating a new legacy for Henry, not merely following the orders of some pampered lords. I like the period-inspired designs and color schemes quite a bit, and it's especially satisfying that you can unlock a few new designs based on your exploits from completing specific quests, both in the DLC and the base game.
I'm here because you're my friend. And I'm definitely not going anywhere.
Again, I think I'd have reacted to Brushes with Death much more favorably if it had been one part of a new playthrough rather than a late addition I was returning to months later. Its relationships would have had more time to brew, I would have spent more time pondering its mysteries while I was out exploring the forest or getting distracted by other quests, and its conclusion might have felt more satisfying if it didn't have to directly follow the total showstopper that was the last several hours of the main story. But instead of it serving as a nice little seasoning to a 3-course meal, as I suspect it was intended to, I was just emptying the entire pepper shaker into my mouth after clearing my plate. I do also have to mention that this patch introduced a new graphical bug for me that was quite persistent and distracting, as I'm sure you can see throughout this footage. Especially in and around castles and towns, entire buildings and rock formations would flicker out of existence as higher detail versions loaded in. I'm playing this on the exact same hardware I used for the base game, an RTX 4070 Super, Ryzen 7 3700X, 32GB of RAM, and a SATA SSD, with the latest NVIDIA drivers, and I've never seen this before I loaded up Brushes with Death. Try as I might, I couldn't find any combination of graphics settings that would get rid of it. Hopefully it gets fixed soon, but I can only tell you about my experience, and it was definitely affected by these unfortunate novel tech issues.
I am the ruler of the corrupted and the damned, and you are coming with me straight to hell.
Even if you're eager to return to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I have a hard time enthusiastically recommending that you come back just to play through Brushes with Death on its own. Credit where credit is due, the writing and voice acting are still strong. There are a few inspired and memorable plot moments among the largely simple fetch quests, and I felt satisfied with the way Voyta's canvas turned out. It's not bad at all, it's simply a bit threadbare as a standalone experience, and it didn't feel like a strong follow-up to what had come before. I wish I had waited until Henry's big adventure wasn't so fresh in my mind and experienced it woven into a brand new save file instead, or at least until there's more than one DLC to split my attention between and make it feel like there were more new stones for me to turn over. And that's probably how I'd encourage you to approach this and the remaining 2 announced story DLCs for this grand RPG. For more, check out our reviews of Doom: The Dark Ages and Tempest Rising, and for everything else, stick with IGN.